let's jump right into this explainer on Guy de Maupassant's absolutely brilliant short story, The Necklace. If you're prepping for your Class 10 exams, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're looking at a classic tale of pride, vanity, and, honestly, the devastating power of situational irony. We're going to break down the whole shebang, the narrative, what really drives these characters, and those crucial themes you absolutely need to nail down for your test.
So here's our roadmap for today. 1. Dreams versus reality. 2. The fatal ball. 3. A decade of ruin. 4. The shocking twist. And 5. Themes and moral lessons.
All right, starting with Section 1, Dreams versus Reality, the Loisel household in 1880 Paris.
Think about this for a second. What would you sacrifice to look rich for just one single night? It's a pretty intense question, right? But it perfectly captures that dangerous allure of materialism driving our main character. In a world totally obsessed with status, this story forces us to look at the crazy lengths people will go to just to project an image of wealth, and, well, the massive toll that illusion takes on reality. Now, let's look at the incredible contrast between our two main characters. On one hand, you've got Mathilde Loisel. Sure, she's pretty and charming, but she is deeply materialistic and just constantly miserable with her modest life. She literally feels she was born for luxury, totally driven by false pride. Then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there's her husband, Monsieur Loisel. He's a simple clerk for the Board of Education. He's caring, grounded, and actually content with what he has. He's basically the poster child for honesty and selflessness. Grasping this huge clash in their personalities is absolutely crucial, because it's the engine driving this entire story.
So, Monsieur Loisel scores this exclusive invitation to a grand ball hosted by the minister, thinking Mathilde will be over the moon. But instead, she bursts into tears because she doesn't have a fancy dress. To cheer her up, her husband actually gives up his own savings, 400 francs he was stashing away to treat himself to a hunting rifle just to buy her an elegant gown. It's a huge sacrifice that really shows his devotion. But wouldn't you know it, Mathilde is still unhappy because she doesn't have any jewelry to match. And that right there is what leads her to borrow a stunning diamond necklace from her wealthy friend, Madame Forestier.
Moving on to Section 2, The Fatal Ball, the turning point of the story.
This is where a night of absolute triumph goes completely off the rails. At the ball, Mathilde gets exactly what she's been dreaming of. She is shining, she's admired by literally everyone, and for one glorious night, she feels like she truly belongs to the high society elite. But the second they leave, reality hits hard. She realizes the borrowed necklace is gone. After frantic searching turns up absolutely nothing, her pride takes the wheel. Instead of just coming clean to her friend, the couple makes a fateful choice. They decide to secretly replace the necklace. And guys, this one cover-up completely seals her tragic fate.
Which brings us to Section 3, A Decade of Ruin, the Grueling Cost of Pride. 36,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. That staggering amount is the cost, in francs, of the replacement diamond necklace they spot in a shop window. For a simple clerk's family, that's an astronomical, life-ruining debt. To pull it off, Monsieur Loisel has to wipe out his entire 18,000 franc inheritance from his father, and they have to borrow the rest. We're talking high-interest loans, shady deals with moneylenders, the whole shebang. They literally sacrifice their entire future for this one single piece of jewelry. And the real-world fallout of that 36,000 franc debt is just brutal. Over the next 10 years, their lives become a living nightmare. Year 1, they lose their comfortable flat, fire their maid, and move into a cramped attic. Fast forward to year 5, and they are drowning in the grind. Monsieur Loisel is working multiple exhausting odd jobs late into the night. And Mathilde, the woman who dreamed of servants and luxury, she's doing heavy, grueling manual labor, scrubbing floors, hauling water, haggling over pennies at the market. By year 10, they finally pull it off. The debt is zeroed out. But the cost? It's devastating. Mathilde has completely lost her beauty. She looks worn out, aged far beyond her years, transformed into this harsh, calloused woman of the working poor. Section 4, The Shocking Twist, the Truth Revealed.
So after a decade of absolute misery, Mathilde bumps into Madame Forestier on the street. And get this, Madame Forestier doesn't even recognize her because the hard labor has aged her so much. Mathilde finally spills the beans. She tells her she lost the original necklace, bought a 36,000 franc replacement, and spent the last 10 years agonizingly paying it off.
And then Madame Forestier looks at her, stunned, and drops the ultimate bombshell. Oh, my poor Mathilde, mine was false. It was not worth over 500 francs. I mean, wow. Talk about a gut punch. This heart-stopping twist reveals that Mathilde literally threw away her youth, her beauty, and her husband's life to replace a cheap piece of costume jewelry.
Let's wrap up with Section 5, Themes and Moral Lessons, what Class 10 students must know.
Okay, if you remember just one literary device for your exam, make it situational irony. That's when the outcome is the exact opposite of what you'd expect. Maupassant absolutely hits the nail on the head here. Mathilde's desperate scramble to look incredibly wealthy at the ball is the very thing that plunges her into severe, grinding poverty. She sacrificed a decade of her life for a diamond necklace that turned out to be fake. If she had just swallowed her pride and been honest from day one, she would have saved herself 10 years of pure misery.
So what are the big takeaways here? We've got 4 core life lessons that are perfect for those value-based exam questions. First up, honesty is always better than false pride. Covering up her mistake destroyed her life, plain and simple. Second, be content with what you have, kind of like Monsieur Loisel was. Third, appearances can be wildly deceptive. That necklace looked like $1 million but was practically worthless. A pretty spot-on metaphor for the hollow high society Mathilde worshipped. And finally, the extreme pursuit of social status is a totally dangerous game. Pretending to be something you're not has some seriously tragic, long-lasting consequences. To wrap this explainer up, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. Were Mathilde's 10 years of intense suffering just a pointless tragedy? Or was it actually a harsh but completely necessary lesson that finally stripped away her illusions and taught her the true value of hard work and humility? It's a super fascinating question for character analysis, and it really makes you wonder if this devastating irony was the only way to cure her vanity. Keep these ideas fresh in your mind, remember the tragic irony of those 500 francs, and you are going to totally crush your exams.